Too much work right here.
Are you ready?
Oh, boy.
I said, are you ready? Welcome to the show where the throttle stays twisted, the conversations stay loud, and freedom still means something. This is Throttle Iron!
Everybody got the volume down on their phone?
Make sure you get the volume
Yep.
down.
I do not have my telephone on. I see Mr. Blaze in the comments. I'll be seeing you this weekend for the big chicken ride.
Jason Christensen is in the chat.
Different brands, but one damn road. Everybody carrying their load. Raise them up.
All right.
Like that
As you guys can see, I put that
fire,
link
fuel the
in the
dream.
chat. Make sure you go to that page, ask your questions, and also tell us where you're from, and you'll show up on the map when we go to the map section. So let's get that stuff going. So go ahead, go to the website if you can,
Welcome to the family.
and I'll give it to you here again in a second.
Tuesday night we're
Dan
bringing
Lyons in
heat.
the chat.
Everybody gets a seat.
Dan,
Real
hey,
talk,
you
real
met him.
Real stories from the people we know.
That'd be Les, right?
Mountains to the coast. It's the riders we love most.
Les.
Every guest and every friend. The
Yes, Les and Mike must be muted or got kicked off the show.
Yo, kickstand
I'm not
driver,
muted. What do you
ready
need?
to ride.
I've been talking to you.
Iron coming live
Oh,
worldwide.
sorry.
Indian
I can't hear. All I hear is the music.
custom around here, man.
I said,
Don't judge nothing.
Dan the biker, you met over the weekend?
Every time he's on the screen. Chris on the mic, keeping
Kevin
things
Indian
moving,
116
talking
is in the
bikes
house.
and life and what keeps us
Jason
cruising.
Christensen
We're
in the
building a
house.
community, one rider at a time.
If it's too
Thousands
loud, I
of
can turn it
miles, one
down
road,
here.
one ride. So if you're feeling that
Oh, it's
freedom,
coming
throw
in
your hands in the
16.
sky, throttle and iron family till the day we die.
All right, Bob Cole's in the house. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, what's the dog?
Are you ready?
Hell yeah, let's go.
Dan Biker, William Blaze,
Let's go.
Leland Smith, welcome. He's a new member, a real new member.
Tony Florian,
Tony in the house, welcome.
Jeffrey Maxwell,
Who's that?
Raise your voice
Mike,
and sing
DK,
along.
something like that.
Freedom riding all night long. Ride hard.
All right, so remember, if you go to this website, you can ask the question. We will be filtering the questions, by the way. Just wanted to give you a heads up.
Welcome to the family.
love this song.
Max doesn't like it.
Oh, he's an old Scrooge.
I can hardly even hear you. Who's talking bad about me
See
now?
you on the road.
Donna's in the house. What's that? Awesome. All right. We're going to move to the next screen here.
Yeehaw.
Yeah, I know.
Let's go.
All right. As you guys can see, I got a new screen here. As you can see, the new ones over here, most of them in the white were actually purchased by Mr. Rumble and Growl. That's exactly right. I almost lost my mind there. He actually gifted some subs here
Which is
last
too cool.
week or 2 weeks ago, which is cool.
Very cool.
Also, as you can see, this is the latest member list. Wind Therapy Attic, been here 7 freaking months. Awesome. Tim Arnold, 6. Donna, 6. That's our Indian Adventures. No, I'm sorry. That's Chris Wasberger. I'm getting people.
Slow down.
I'm slowing down.
You're all excited.
Yes, I know this is gonna be a great podcast tonight, man. You go ahead. If you want to start talking, Connie, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I'm doing comments.
Mixed Boy 420, Wheels Divided, Gator Mike, Bob Cole, Riding Fish, William Blaze, Iowa. That is Donna, 5
Yeah.
months.
Donna's
Tony-
in the chat too.
Yes, she is. Tony is in the chat. He's 5 months. Kevin Tatum's 5 months. Joshua Pfeiffer, 5 months. Mike Sablano, Sampaio, 5 months. Doug Hampton, 5 months. Terry Cornett, 6 months. Rolling Roll in Stones, 4 months. Bagger Legion, 4 months. Tony G, 4. Rumble and Ground. That's the one that was gifting everybody last week. Rune Seeker Moto, 2 months. Body Snatcher 1, and Kevin Indian. Keb Indian 116, 1 month, and Leon is on his way to his first month. And we have Bent Rib Podcast, Christopher 0587, Zan Biker, Cedar Key, and Garland Zeus. Mike
Zeus.
Gnarly Zeus.
Yeah, yep. And Chris, I don't. You can say his name.
Wheel Rosh.
Yeah. I have bad. All right, so let's go to the screen. Okay, so we got the new screen here. As you guys see, we got the emojis going. Thank you. It's all cool stuff. We got a bunch of stuff planned tonight, as you can see over here on the side. Let me get the board started, and we'll get going here. Let's see. Start the board. Let's see. Next segment. There we go. All right. So the cold open here. All right. Anyway, I'll have to rename that because that's kind of a weird name. But anyway, as you can see, we have George and we have Chris. Oh, I got to move this one thing. Let me get this thing off here because we got the top riders here, and it's in Chris's on his view right there. So let me get that real quick. Go ahead and start talking to somebody. Les or Max.
You know, Chris, a tech guy would have never put that top rider list right there.
A high school tech guy wouldn't even put
100%. The good thing is I can change that thing immediately, which is good. And let me move it up a little bit.
You know what?
No,
a high school tech guy's favorite thing is right now.
What?
See if you can figure it out. Because we have a high school tech guy where I'm at work.
I don't know. Tell us.
They do everything with AI.
Oh, really?
So Max,
Oh my God.
still with that high school tech guy, buddy?
Sure. You won't play that music.
All right. We also got
Anyway.
Chris Watts. Yeah, good.
All right. Well, anyway, welcome everybody. It's going to be an excellent, fun show tonight because everybody's going to participate in the great ongoing debate.
Oh,
Indian versus Harley.
No, we're
It
not.
never ends. It never ceases. It's a constant debate. Which one do you prefer? Which one do you like better? Who's got a leg up? Whose leg is down? It ebbs and flows. It's constant. And even though you've got 3 guys here with Indian shirts on and an Indian owner here, we love HD because me personally, if I had the wherewithal, Lowrider ST, buddy, I'd have one in my garage because I love that bike. That bike is awesome.
Oh, you know I would because I was looking for that bike. The Fast Johnny.
The Fast Johnny?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You love that bike.
I love that bike.
Yeah. It's a nice bike. man.
What was the new Harley they came out with a few weeks ago? A new Super Glide. I think it was a throwback to.
Yes.
Super.
Yeah.
It is
Right,
a super
right.
ride.
Yeah, that's
We
a
have
great
4 of them
looking
coming.
bike.
They're all sold already.
I carry every brand under the moon except for Harley and a couple of the European brands, but that was a really great looking bike, I thought. So
Yeah. So George, you said you had what? 4 of them come in? They're sold already?
Nice.
Yeah, we have 1 that came in and went out the door, and we have deposits on the other 3, and more people want them, and there aren't any more. I think they're only making like I forget the numbers, 1,500. It's a small
Yeah.
number.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
was a limited edition run.
That's
I
like
thought
us.
I read 12, but
that's like us with the
I could be
new
wrong.
Chief Vintage. I mean, you can't, you get one to come in, and especially if it's the red. I mean, we have to order it, and if it shows up, it's gone within a day or two because of people to call. So it's good
Yeah.
to see a new product like that people are excited about. So
Yeah. I
Isn't
think
it
one of those
funny?
cheap.
Colors sell.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that Chief Vintage with a sidecar and a Springer front end, I think would be quite the setup. I would love to see one done like that.
I'd buy that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I
Heck
bet
yes.
you would.
Well,
Yeah.
if anybody's looking for something with a sidecar, I have a really nice Ural in stock right now. Go to MusicCityIndian.com, and if you just can't live without a 2-wheel drive Russian-made motorcycle with a sidecar, I've got one for you. So.
Yeah, Chris, I actually saw that. I think a week or so ago. I was down.
Oh, you
having
did?
some
Yeah.
work. Yeah, I was having some work done, and I think it's brand new or so. It's only got like 9 miles or something on it.
It crazy low miles. Yes, it's like brand
Yeah.
new. So
Yeah, it is literally like brand new.
Yeah, that's crazy indeed.
George has a special guest on.
What is it?
I've
Gatto
seen
and
I have seen that cat many a times in Zoom meetings with George from our
There he is.
NPDA days or our 20 group days, and there's the cat just ruling the roost right there with
he,
George.
he
So,
craves attention.
Very cool.
Oh,
That's
don't
nice
step
stuff.
on the computer.
All right, well, let's get the we got the member shout out already done. Let's get with George. Inside of George, let's go with you first and tell us about your story there, buddy.
Oh, geez. So my parents started in the power sports business when I was a little kid. A lot like Chris. I mean, we're second generation dealers. My dad started with Triumph, Bultaco, Mako, Hodaka, BSA, Suzuki. And over the years, Triumph, most of those brands had gone away when the Japanese invasion just wiped out all those European brands. And probably, I want to say late 70s, early 80s, they were mostly all gone. And by that time, a good friend of my dad's, who was a Suzuki Kawasaki dealer, said, "Hey, you need to look at Harley Davidson. These guys they're doing some good things. AMF had bought them and replaced a bunch of the equipment. And let me get this cat out of here. And there's he likes to sit on the keyboard. Why? I have no idea, but he likes to sit there. So my dad was able to pick up Harley. He was trying to buy out an existing dealer, and that wasn't working out. And this other friend of ours that's a competitor, he helped my dad get in contact with Harley Corporate. And like 81, right when I think the first few bikes we got said AMF on the tank. And then after that, it was all, they bought themselves back. So it was 81, 82, we became a Harley dealer. And these bikes were all in the same building. And then, I graduated high school in 80, and we had a bicycle store. And I actually started running the bicycle side because it was my own gig and I could do what I wanted. And I did 2 years of college at a Penn State branch campus. I opened up a couple more bicycle stores. And then I went to another college. And then after I got out of that when I graduated, I had 5 bicycle stores, and I was still helping with the power sports store. And man, I loved that business. It was a lot of fun. It was my own gig. They pretty much let me do what I wanted as long as I was profitable. But as age does, my dad started to have some health issues. He had quintuple bypass surgery, and at that point, he was done. He was 55 years old, and he had open heart surgery at that point. And it wasn't as easy as it is today. Not that it's easy, but it was a lot more invasive back then. And so I helped my mom run the power sports store. And I figured out after a few years in bicycles that, we were doing $4 million a year in bicycles. I couldn't really make a lot of money with it. And I saw the ground crumbling beneath my feet, and that the brands were all going bankrupt. The channels of distribution were changing. Brands that used to sell just through an independent dealer started to sell through like Walmart's, and then there were all the mail order catalogs back then, and that's when the online business hit. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, this is the end of bicycles. I had friends that had 6, 8, 10, 12 stores, and they were just getting pummeled. None of them made it through that period. I decided, the place we made the most money was the Harley side, and I thought we need to invest more in the Harley side. So I closed one bicycle store at a time. We kept one, and we still have one small bicycle store. But the Harley side was always a side that, one, it made good money, and two, although I didn't feel like I fit in at first. I mean, I'd go to the Harley meetings, and most of the dealers at that point in time, the late 70s, early 80s, they were enthusiasts. And, I was this college boy, and I didn't feel like I fit in at all. And I got to meet some of the executives. And then I joined a 20 group, and I got to meet some dealers that were, business people. And then I felt like I fit in. And that takes us into the 2000s. By 2007, I was pretty much out of bicycles. And our largest competitor in Pittsburgh was having financial issues, and I was able to buy them. It was a very difficult deal, but we were able to buy that store. And that's the store we currently have. The store, the Gatto Harley Davidson that my parents started. Harley came to me about, maybe 4 years ago, and they wanted me to consolidate the Gatto store and the Pittsburgh store because there's just too many dealers, and we're all on top of each other. And then I was like, nah, they both make money. I'm not going to close that store. It'll break my parents' heart. So they came back and said, hey, your closest competitor, Hot Metal Harley, is underperforming, and we want you to buy it, close it, and consolidate 3 stores into one. And I'm like, well, that's going to cost a lot of money. Let's talk some more. And basically, the brands, I'll give you a territory, and it goes by zip codes. So each of these 3 stores was like a small, medium market as far as zip codes. And these companies, the data they have on people that live in these zip codes is absolutely amazing. Chris will tell you, we see this data from a lot of the vendors. They know income per household, they know age, they know male, female, they know the propensity to buy their products, they know different ethnic groups. It's amazing the data they have. So, they showed me these numbers. Like, you're going to have this gigantic territory. The propensity to buy is humongous. They also measure, Harley measures Harley's in operation. They go back, Harley's in operation for 5 years. Harley is in operation for 10 years. The number just blew me away. There's a ton of Harleys in operation. There was a lot of potential. And trying to run 3 stores that are, mid-size is not an easy thing, especially since COVID, when you can't hire any help. So basically, I took the deal, and I actually worked with 2 other competitors that are friends. Pokey Weiss has Steel City Harley Davidson, and Dax Dillman has Z&M Harley, and those guys each got 20% of the territory, and I got 60%, and we paid accordingly. And we bought this dealership, everything: building, trucks, office equipment, parts, tools, everything, and we had to sell it all off. And by the time we sold it all off, the deal was a pretty good deal. And that was about 4 years ago. And thank God I did that, because, when we had this horrible CEO for 5 years, and he cut the Sportster line, Sportsters were 20 to 25% of our business. He just freaking cut it. I mean, that was a big chunk of our business, not just the vehicles, but the other departments. That all adds up. People often ask, where do you make all your money? You make a little bit of money in everywhere. There's not one department you make all your money. Everything has to contribute. And so we did that consolidation. So I still run a power sports store in Trenton, Gatto Cycle Shop, and I run the one Harley store now. And I love running one store instead of 2 or 3. It's so much easier. I was able to take the best staff from all 3 stores, put them at one store. It's been a really good thing for us. It did trigger a remodel. Originally, Yoke and Zeitz wanted me to spend $5 to $6 million on a remodel, which would have bankrupted me. And we just pushed back. And the thing I like about Harley Davidson is the relationship I have. Like I told you guys before this started, I talked to Mike Kennedy this morning for 20, 30 minutes. Mike worked at Harley for 20 some years. We got to be great friends. We're still great friends. The relationship I have with these guys is amazing. Artie Starr is the CEO. I mean, there are weeks I'll talk to him 6, 7, 8 times, and he'll just call or text. And he asks a ton of questions. What's going on with this? Or I'm having a meeting about used motorcycles. You guys are killing it. How are you doing so well with used? What can I do to help you sell more used? And we have these discussions, and you talk to the CEO and you talk to his team, and things happen. And that's what I like about Harley. Now, we didn't have that for 5 years with Yoke and Zeitz. That guy didn't listen to anybody. He was the smartest guy in the room. But with Artie Stars, he's a great guy. He listens. We talked about used bikes, and I said one of the things that's really hurt me in used bikes is you guys are discontinuing parts after 10 years, sometimes sooner. We sell a lot of 15, 18, even 20-year-old bikes. In 2006, Harley made 350,000 motorcycles and sold them. And, last year it was about 120, 130,000 motorcycles. So, it's the volume's down. And so, we rely a lot more on used. I'll sell about, between 300 and 400 used a year, and we sell a little over 200 new a year. We should sell a lot more, but the market's just not real strong right now. COVID, and Chris, I'm sure talk about it too. COVID, those 2 years of COVID were godsend. We did great during those 2 years if you were smart and if you had a lot of inventory. If you didn't have a lot of inventory, you had problems. With the that's pretty much the story. I mean, it's I have a great relationship with those guys. I love being a dealer for them. They are just wonderful to work with. Like Kawasaki, I know the rep that I might have for a year, then he's gone. I don't know anybody else at Kawasaki. Honda, I know the rep that I might have for 6 months to a year, and he's gone. Royal Enfield, same
But
thing. We're up for a
but
year. He's gone.
George, your experience with Kawasaki specifically there is complete opposite of mine.
Yeah.
In 40 years, we've only had 4 Kawasaki reps, and 3 of them been really, really good. One of them not so much, but yeah. So that varies from region to region and OEM to OEM. So,
But it's not often you got the CEO's phone number, his cell phone number, and you can call him at 10 o'clock at night and he picks up the phone and says, "Hey George, what's going on? What can I help you with?" Or, "I got this problem. What do we got to do to fix it?" And I mean, I know dozens of people at the motor company I can call if I need something, and I don't have that at the other vendors. Now, Chris, you've been in the power sports side, longer than I have. Maybe you can get into that more. But Chris and I have similar stories, so let's let Chris talk. I talked enough.
All right, Chris, tell us your story.
oh man. Just like George, second generation, my family got in the business with a single line Honda dealership in 1982. I was 11. My dad had worked in manufacturing, and I won't go into any of that, but he had a whole nother reason to get into the motorcycle business, and that was to sell another product that was a winter product, and he was a motorcycle guy, and we rode, and I'd bought my own little dirt bike, a little Honda XL75 when I was 9 from a kid down the street with my own money, and if you're asking me today what my favorite motorcycle is, I probably have to go back to that XL75 because it was my first one, and I thought that was a Ferrari to me, and had a lot of great memories on that, as I think most people have with their first bikes. But yeah, started out there. I grew up on that side of the business. Being the SOB, call it son of boss, and going in every weekend and summers with my dad, and working around the shop, or I thought I was working anyway, and picked it up a lot. Did that all through middle school, high school, went off to college, University of Tennessee, come home, work summers. And, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I graduated May of 94. And the day after I graduated, I was in the shop, and I have not clocked out since, as I like to say. So I've been full-time 32 years. At that point, we had 2 small metric stores carrying Honda and Yamaha, Kawasaki, Sea-Doo. Watercraft was a big thing back in those days. Polaris, ATVs, Suzuki, I guess. So we were a metric dealer. Two locations here in Nashville, and we've just grown our footprint kind of organically over the years as opportunities have come up. We've bought the guy down the street, closed him down, add a couple franchises here, bought a couple underperforming dealers, outside the market, and combined them. And that's kind of how our growth has come, come from buying underperforming dealerships, bring in processes and some procedures and some capital and grow them up. And, now here in 2026, I have 5 metric stores. One of them has a non-family partner member that I've had for about 2 years. All the other stores are still family owned. My parents are retired and out of it. They're in their 80s, but my dad sure likes to know what's going on every day. I get a lot of phone calls and a lot of questions, which is, yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, he's my mentor, my hero, and he's 84. And as I like to, a lot of times I'll refer to him as he's my supreme advisor, and he'll just say advisor. He doesn't want the supreme title, but he does a pretty good job. He's wise for sure. And and then here just recently, last fall, Cam Amstutz, who you guys interviewed 2 or 3 months ago for the same podcast, his Indian store is directly across the street from one of my stores downtown. Of course, Cam and I knew each other and had known each other for a number of years. Had a great relationship. Is you're not competing. Indian store is not competing with a metric store across the street. And, as I have a really good relationship with most of the dealers in the market. From Ricky Kelly to Bubba, Boswell and the Sloan family when they were still in business. And so we're all you know, been a pretty good network here in the market. And Cam was like, you know, he had some reasons, and he's like, you're the, you know, kind of the natural, uh, the first one I'm going to call anyway. So, you know, we ended up putting a deal together. But while we're working on this deal, all of a sudden Polaris makes the big announcement that they're exiting Indian. And so I'm like, hey, we got to hit the pause button on this a little bit, because I got to see where this is going before I, you know, bite this off. And, you know, so we kind of, we kept the music on, but we kind of quit dancing there for a little bit. And, which, you know, he, you know, graciously understood. And I went to the dealer show in January out in Los Angeles. I got to meet Mike Kennedy, but even before I went to the dealer show in Los Angeles in January, George had got me in touch with Mike Kennedy, and because I knew they were good friends, and I just wanted to talk to Mike and go, hey, what's going on? I mean, you know, you've been on the OEM side most of your career, but he had a stint at Rumble On, so you've seen the dealer side, you know, before, you know, make me feel good about this purchase is basically what I wanted to hear from him. And we had a great conversation. We talked one day for probably 45 minutes, and I was like, okay, I like the guy. And so, you know, we ended up consummating the deal, and that happened back at the end of March. And Cam is still on board with me and doing a great job. And we've not really made a lot of changes other than the ownership, but other than we added Triumph motorcycles over there. I thought that would be a good combination. We had Triumph at one of the metric stores, and Triumph's a great historic brand, you know, boutique-y. But, you know, does that customer really want to come into a big power sports store and, you know, see jet skis and ATVs, side by sides, Chinese go-karts? I mean, it's not the environment, I think, for that brand to excel. So we've made it happen, but we just got Triumph in the Indian store about a week ago, and we sold 2 today. So
Nice.
it'll definitely do better there. And, you know, we have some great plans. You know, you guys that have been to Music City Indian, you know, we do a lot of customization, more so than, you know, most of your metric guys that happen to have Indian, you know, have their 2,000 square feet inside the building that are, you know, bolting on windshields and pipes. We're doing, you know, complete engine, you know, out of the frame, you know, customizations. They actually just put a stage 2 cam kit in my Indian Pursuit today. So I'm looking forward to getting out and riding that. But so we're hoping to bring that customization theme from Indian and also to Triumph, because, you know, those brands lend well, you know, to that versus, you know, Hondas and Yamahas and Kawasaki's, where the, you know, that customer base just, you know, they want some simple bolt-ons, but we're not getting into the motors and, you know, doing custom paint jobs and stuff like that. So, but so we've gone, you know, 1 store to 6 stores in a matter of 44 years. So,
Wow.
Dang. Heck of a story right there.
Excellent.
Yeah, Chris and I actually saw some of the custom work that they were doing at Music City Indian while we were there. While we were getting our tunes, they had a couple bikes on the lift there toward the front side of the store. The one with the white frame. You talked about the complete engine out, you know, build from the frame up. It was there when we were getting our tunes done.
They were working on it today. In fact, the lady that we're building it for, she was in, and we've been doing a lot of videos on that bike for social media. That's one thing Cam has done a really good job of social media, documenting, you know, the customization process. And, you know, last week we had a guy from Indianapolis bring his bike down, and I'm sure there's some great dealers up there, but there were some things that we do that, you know, obviously somebody else in his area wasn't doing, and it was worth his while. We get a lot of, you know, people out of Memphis and Alabama and, you know, whatnot coming just because of that custom work. And, yeah, I'm excited to see the finished job on that one here in the next week or so.
Sure.
Nice.
I would like to get some feedback, Chris, on your cams and what you think about, you know, what it was like prior and then once it was done with the tune in it, and if you think it's worth it.
I'll let you know tomorrow. I didn't get to ride it. I didn't get to ride it today, and as I was in my truck, but I plan on trying to get it out of the shop and get it home tomorrow. So
Yeah, definitely.
I know they're did a Lloyd's tune on it, and I think it adds about, I don't know, maybe 15% more horsepower. I think that's what I read.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
no replacement for displacement, they say. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm glad you guys came on the show, because this is, I think it's one of the first times that a podcast has had a Harley dealership owner and an Indian dealership owner in the same spot. And we're lucky that you're both friends, you know, that you agreed to this.
Yeah.
So I really
Yeah, we
appreciate
are.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
George and I.
Well, usually what happens is we start getting Harley guys taking pokes at the Indian guys, and Indian guys taking pokes at the Harley guys, you know, in the comments. Usually what happens.
I may take a poke at George. We're good friends, but I still might make a poke, but it's all in good fun. We don't take it so seriously, and maybe that's because we're dealer principals. That, you know, we are passionate about the product and passionate about the sport, but we don't take it so seriously that our feelings are going to get hurt over what's going on, what the public sees, you know, what's happened the last few weeks. I mean, you know, I'll sleep the same at night one way or another. So
Yeah. And things are not going to change. I mean, Cam's going to be there for a while. I mean, I noticed some people say Cam's really good and that kind of stuff, but yeah, not Cam's in motorcycles. We're talking about Cam that actually works there. Great guy. Yes, we had him on the podcast. I mean, we got down there to meet him. As soon as we walked in the store, he saw us and greeted us. I mean, he's a great guy, man. You're lucky to have him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was having some warranty work done on my Pursuit, Chris, and while I was there, I actually I got a part-time job working at the dealership. I helped your sales guy change light bulbs out and clean out the light fixtures. Because I
appreciate that.
Yeah, I had about a 3.5 hour wait. I had nothing else to do, and I'm like, "Hey, man, I'll hand you light bulbs if you hand me the old ones down." So,
we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Are you guys ready for some serious questions now?
No, not yet.
Sure.
Okay. National Power Sports Dealer Association. I assume you both are members?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been on the board. George is still on the board. So, yes.
Okay. Because I get notifications from them. Open letter from 6/10/2026. Open letter from the NPDA Harley Davidson Council. George, would you care to speak on that?
What is it?
That's probably the letter that we wrote when all the shit hit the fan with the what do you want to call it? The political attacks, and we discussed it at length. Our Harley Council. So I'm one of the founding members of the MPDA. We got together years ago and said we need to have a dealer organization. Every other organization in the world, every other business in the world has a dealer organization. We don't have one. So we were going to start a Harley dealer organization. The problem is there's only 520 Harley dealers approximately. And you can't do anything federally with that few number of dealers. So we talked to the guys from the National Auto Dealer Association. They're like, oh, no, you can't split them up. You got to do all together because there's 6,000 power sports dealers. So we formed this organization. I formed a Harley dealer organization, which is part of that. It's called the Harley Davidson Dealer Council. We're in the process of forming an Indian Dealer Council right now. So hopefully, Chris, you're going to be a member. I think our friend Jason already hit you up to be a member of the Indian Council. But the whole idea of our organization is to try to help dealers be better dealers. Mm-hmm. So the letter we put out was basically going to say, we support leadership at Harley because they were getting ripped apart online. And I'm going to back up a second real quick. What Chris and I see in the industry is we live what you guys get to read about or people do videos on like YouTube. And I'll tell you that 9/10 of it's bullshit. There's a lot of lies on YouTube videos. I mean, just I don't know if this stuff's AI. I don't know what it is, but there's so much garbage out there. And there were statements made about the new Harley CEO, and our dealer organization helped push Jochen Zietz out of office. That's how bad he was. And our dealer organization was never made to do that. We built a dealer organization to help with more places to ride, fighting legislation like lead legislation. They wanted to like outlaw all these parts on motorcycles, including batteries, because they have lead in them. That's the kind of stuff we have to go and make sure the legislators understand. Yeah, these have lead in them. You're not going to have batteries without lead. You know, you got to cut us a break here. Or places to ride, or being able to ride ATVs and side by side on country roads. That's the kind of stuff we were set up for. But we helped push the old guy out. The new guy was getting crucified online. We called bullshit on it and just said, no, we support this guy 100%. He listens to what we're saying. He calls us and asks us questions, and he makes moves. He gets stuff done. I was talking about, they don't have parts, or they were discontinuing parts for 10-year-old motorcycles. Well, he called me back a couple weeks later and said, I sat down with my team and I talked to several other dealers that said the same thing, that we're discontinuing parts too early. I give you my word, we're working on making parts longer. We're going to go back at least 15 years or more. And these are the kind of discussions that we want to have, not push the old CEO out. And that's why we wrote that letter, because we support this guy. We really like this guy. I'm going to say that this guy is probably more liked than just about any CEO in the past. And there's been some really good ones at Harley. We just happen to have one really bad one for 5 years. Yeah. So there's my long answer.
Okay. Well, I read that letter, as I do with most of the stuff that comes from the Power Sports Dealers Association. And I thought it was a good letter. So that's why I wanted to ask you about it. Serious questions. So, again, we know the viewpoints on that ad. A lot of Indian people didn't necessarily agree with the ad, but it I don't know. I'm not the right one to ask. I'm really not. So yeah. I appreciate your candor in explaining to the general public about what the Power Sports Association does.
Gotcha. All right, so we're going to spin the wheel. A couple of questions here that I put in here. We'll see if any of them are stupid or we're going to make them. We'll see what happens here.
Jeez.
I know. Yeah, we're gonna do it, man. I'm gonna hide the poll so to get that out of the way.
Is this a question where you win $1,000 cash, Chris?
Hell yeah.
Don't be saying that. You don't have $1,000 cash to give to somebody.
Hell no. It comes from Connie.
No, definitely no.
All right, folks. If there's a couple things in here, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Also like the podcast. This is going to be a good podcast here tonight. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to get into some, some conversation that's going to be really fun. I think it's going to be insight, what the dealerships, that kind of stuff, what they do at their dealerships that is different than any other dealership. And we're going to find a lot of things. I think you're going to think that you're going to want to drive a long distance to one of their dealerships to buy a bike, hopefully, because these guys are great guys. I've been talking to them for at least, I know George, the last 2 weeks I've been talking to him. Chris has been about a week. Freaking fabulous guys, man. I'm telling you, they're going to be great. So let's see if this thing works for a second, and if it doesn't, we'll move on. But let's see if it's hopefully a good question, and we won't have to worry about it.
Yeah, George.
I can guarantee it won't be a serious question.
Well, yeah. Well, we're a podcast. We talk about sometimes serious
fun stuff.
It's fun stuff. We're talking about fun stuff. We're not here to. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, George, in the comments, someone said you are not able to do a cat delete.
Cat delete.
Gatto in Italian means cat.
That's a really bad dad joke.
Yeah.
All right. So on your guys' floor, George, if you was going to buy a motorcycle, at an Indian, what motorcycle would you buy?
I used to buy a motorcycle every year, but every time I'd fix it up the way I wanted, somebody wanted to buy it. Well, that's the business I'm in, so I'd sell it. So now I just take a used one. I typically take a CVO. Street glide or road glide is typically what I grab. The problem is they change the controls on them every so many years, and I I don't always remember how to run all the controls and how to get my phone to Bluetooth and all that stuff. So I typically like the CVOs. I like the touring bikes. In my younger days, it was sport bikes. But, today I just like to cruise. So
Gotcha. Now, if it was the Indian, what would you buy? How's that?
I honestly don't know. I don't know the Indian line that well. We just took a Chieftain on trade. I mean, it looks like a great bike. I did like the look of the new the anniversary bike that was red. It looks kind of like a Road King. What's that called?
That's a Challenger.
I like the look of that. It looks sporty. It looks like looks like a fun bike. The problem when you own dealerships is you don't really get to ride a lot, especially in these seasonal states. I'm busy putting in 60 hours a week, and I got this wife that I really like, and my daughter I really like, and in my off time I try to spend time with my family.
That's
okay. I gotta call some bullshit. Okay, because I know George. I'm going to call bullshit here.
Let's do it.
George chooses to work 60 hours a week, but he doesn't have to work 60 hours a week. His wife does not even care that he works 60 hours a week. He can take more time off. So George chooses because he needs more hobbies. And he's got a great hobby right there under his nose, and that's called motorcycling. And he should take advantage more of that. But if it's not snow skiing season, he don't have anything else to do. So George doesn't have to be there 60 hours a week.
George, I'll write out. George, I'll write out some Saturday. We'll go TP creeping, and you'll come home on a new Indian. I guarantee you.
So we'll share with you guys that Mike Kennedy has laid out the red carpet for us to pick up Indian in Pittsburgh because they closed the dealer down here. I don't know, 6 months or so ago. And I looked at it.
And he should. And he should.
Yes.
I don't know what we're going to do. We're looking. I guess convince me. I'll tell you one thing I like on your podcast is I love the passion for Harley Davidson from the customers and the dealers. There's a lot of passion for Indian from dealers and customers. I don't see much of that with other brands. And it's kind of cool to see that.
Yeah, exactly.
So Mike Kennedy, if you're listening, I have been working on George on this project on your behalf for months. So Mike, I want a bird dog fee if it happens because I think I'm the only one that can close him at this point. So
So actually the IMRG out in the area, Josh Pfeiffer, one of our regulars in the comments and one of our supporters, has commented several times about the Pittsburgh location closings. So I think they're feeling the departure of that dealership.
Yeah. I think it'd be a wise thing to do.
Okay.
We'll come over there. We'll do a podcast and help you grand open it, man. It'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
So while we're on the topic of dealerships, let's talk about this. Harley seems to be contracting, and Indian wants to expand. Where do you see the overlap or the tipping point for both dealerships? Because everybody says there's not enough Indian dealers. And there's some people said there were too many Harley dealers. So there's got to be a point where everybody feels comfortable. And I don't think it's having one, as George said, one on every corner. So what do you think about that, gentlemen? Chris, you've been quiet. How about you go first this time? What do you think?
Yeah. So, well, in our industry as a whole, I can pick on Harley, but I can pick on Honda and Yamaha, Kawasaki, Polaris, BRP here, is in general, the industry is over-dealered. It has a certain number of rooftops that date back to higher volume days within our industry. And we've had consolidation, and that's how I've been able to grow some. But we've had a lot of guys just kind of barely hanging on. And, it creates an unhealthy market for dealership owners if it's just a small mom and pop shop that's got 6 employees, or it's a larger operation with 50 employees under one roof, or a larger dealer group like mine with 100 plus employees in multiple locations. The OEMs like it that way. At the end of the day, they don't they want there to be one too many products made, one too many dealers in the market, because they want us fighting tooth and nail and just scrapping by. They don't really care about, or I say most of them don't really seem to care about the health of the dealer network, so to speak. So, I mean, we lost a lot during the financial crisis back in 08, 09. We had a purging. We're seeing some consolidation now. You have a lot of owners that are aging out and they don't have a exit strategy. Maybe they don't have a, like for myself and George, we don't have a third generation to come in and take over our business. His daughter is in healthcare. My son just graduated high school. He could care less about motorcycles. It's not his thing. So, we're kind of the last generation with our two groups. So, whenever we're too old for it, we'll have to sell it. I know the Harley has been working hard to get their rooftop count down over the last several years, because I have enough friends in the business, and I've seen that contraction and that consolidation. On the Indian side of things, yeah, I think there's some holes out there in the market where you got major metropolitan cities that definitely could use a rooftop. If there's 100 bikes or more to be sold. But what Indian and Mike, if you're listening, let's not over dealer the country. Let's not have multiple rooftops in the metro market, because right now Indian is not at the volume to support that. And so the growth's got to be a little more strategic, because you can't over dealer. If they were to set up another dealer within 100, 150 miles of me, and there's already a dealer, 35 miles south of me that's got Indian, there's another one 60 miles north. If they were to put another dealer in, they wouldn't grow their pie by another 100, 150 units. They would just grow it some, but they would also take away from the others. So, but yeah, I realize that there's got to be some more rooftops out there, because if a guy comes in my store and says, hey, I want to buy, a Pursuit or Roadmaster or something, and I'm going cross country, he's got to feel confident that he can get it worked on. He can get oil changes, tires, or if he has a breakdown, and he knows he's not going to walk in, to a bar and shield dealer and get that done. And there's not going to be as many independents. So, it needs to be done strategically. Now, does Harley need to shed more rooftops? I can't answer that question. That's for George. But I do think it needs to be done very
strategically.
Strategically, yes.
Judiciously. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it. Judiciously.
Yeah.
So,
George, what about you? What about your side?
So there's been a lot of consolidation already with Harley Davidson. Probably 3-4 years ago, like when I consolidated 3 stores, they were pushing consolidation, and they'd done all these huge market studies where they knew what stores needed to be consolidated, and they were actually kicking some money, and they were putting pressure on people to consolidate. That all ended when COVID ended, because all of our sales spiked during COVID. I mean, everything we could get on our showroom floor sold. So all the manufacturers upped production. So after COVID, it fell off a cliff when interest rates went up and all that cash that the government was handing out dried up. Sales crashed. And when those sales crashed, it happened organically. There were dealers that were not selling enough to be able to pay for their facilities. And so organically, we lost some dealers. We also had some big dealers that would buy, like we bought a store and closed it. I mean, that store wasn't open one day. We bought it, shut it down immediately. There were too many stores. So I think a lot of it's already been done. They're bringing back the Sportster. First quarter, we're going to see the Sportster back, and it's going to be one model most likely, but it's a platform. So we assume that we're going to see other Sportster models over time. And again, that was 20 to 25% of our sales. So you give us another 20, 25% of sales, that's really going to bump our numbers up. So I do not think you're going to see a lot of consolidation in the near future. I think most of it's been done. I know there's a few markets where there needs to be, a dealer here or there. In my market, we had a dealer in my market in my district last year sold less than 10 motorcycles. We had another one sold less than 20 motorcycles. We had a couple that sold in the 20s or 30s. You can't support a dealership on those small numbers. Even if you had Sportster in, it's not enough. So you're going to see some of these little tiny dealerships struggle to stay in business. But they're resilient. These guys, they own their buildings. They have family members working there.
Hey,
Well,
George, let me give you an example of what we've got in our own local area here. We have 4 to 5 Harley dealerships in the greater Cincinnati area. That's
Yep.
right inside or right outside the 275 loop. So I know you're not familiar with our geographical area, but it just seems like it's oversaturation to me. I mean, it's like, and some of these people have been opening mega stores, and some of them are using the pressure tactics on selling people, and it's just insane about what's going on around here.
so if you have a dealership that sells a bike a week, could that dealership make it? That's a question.
No.
So
I mean,
they had,
you're not going to make that in an Indian store.
yeah.
I mean,
So these dealers
We sold
around
70
here,
motorcycles this month. So
yeah. So these dealerships have got to be, they got to be selling some
Aggressive.
bikes. They got to be very aggressive.
Yeah.
So when you walk in
Well-
the door, they lock the door. And yeah.
on this subject, on the Harley and
Yeah.
a bit of contraction, Nashville lost a very historic Harley Davidson dealership earlier this year in Nashville. The Boswell's family, who's been around for decades, and it's I know this strategy, it had to do with real estate being worth so much more than the business, and some consolidation with another dealer group. But I never thought in my lifetime I would have seen the downtown that store close. And now Nashville Davidson County only has one Harley Davidson point in the county, and it's a small footprint store, 10,000 square foot, good ownership group, but they've got another big store south of town in Franklin, and a couple of the t-shirt shops in the tourist sections. And I just for a town the size of Nashville to now, you got the Bumpuses about 35 miles out of town who do a great job, and Bubba's still operating about 60, 70 miles east of town. But that feels like and I think it's great for me. As soon as I buy an Indian store, the downtown Harley store closes. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll pick up some business over time over that. Some people that'll just, say, hey, it's too more difficult to, go somewhere and, get service, and I'll switch over to an Indian since I'm in downtown Nashville. So at least I hope that's the case.
Yeah, I think the Cincinnati market could use another Indian dealership. I think the one that they right now came in here and they popped one in, but it was in a bad location, I think, and it was ran bad too. So I think that's what hurt them. But there's enough riders. I mean, everywhere I go now, I'm seeing more and more Indian motorcycles, which I think that's great for the motorcycle community. Have competition and that kind of stuff. But yeah, you're right. A lot of people they say. Earlier, you mentioned that the market has to have, buyers, and if there's not enough Indian buyers in that market, there's no way they can support an Indian dealer. So, and right now the volume is not even close to Harley Davidson's yearly. Harley Davidson just dominates it.
And Indian, I don't think there's an expectation there with an Indian that they're going to ever match Harley sales, that it's going to ever be a 1-to-1. They've stated they're not going to play in the anything smaller than what they've already got with the Scout 60. I mean, they're like, nope, we got a $10,000 bike, and we're not there. You're not going to see I don't think, per things I've heard, you're not going to see a 500cc Indian or something like that. They're positioned more of a premium. It's a premium brand. It's a premium product, and that's where, and they want to, I think they want to have, maybe a 25% market share in the categories that they're playing in. But they're not going to play in all the categories that Harley's going to play in, at least not anytime soon. Now I'm very excited to see that they're coming forth, with a trike. I think that's going to be really exciting for Indian dealers, and that'll allow for some growth, because it's a segment we're not playing in. George, you can answer this better than I can, but what percentage of your sales come from three-wheel? Tri-glides and free glides.
I mean, Pittsburgh's definitely an aging population. And I have to tell you guys, I had back surgery 2 months ago. So if I'm squirming around a lot, it's because my back hurts and I can't sit very long. It's not a huge percentage of our sales, but it extends riding for people. People that are in their 70s, they can't hold up a dresser anymore. So it extends their years for them. The number of trikes, I mean, God, I'm trying to think of a percentage. It's not a huge percentage for us, but it's enough that it's extending riding for people, especially these baby boomers that, they would be done in their 70s. Now they're riding another 6, 8, 10 years, maybe longer.
George, based on your age and your health, I think the Tri-Glide is probably what's next in store for you.
Well,
Yeah.
Wow.
actually, because they put in that new suspension, it's not a bad thing. They did the R&D and developed that new Harley suspension for those trikes. That's something else entirely. And watch it, guys. I'm 68. You're talking about 70. I'm not that far away. And I'm not ready to give up my bagger yet.
Yeah.
Thanks, George.
Well, Chris did send me a couple questions, and we'll go ahead. We mentioned the 60 years old a couple times. So George, what motivates him to continue the grind into your 60s as a owner of Harley Davidson?
Well, I mean, and I'm power sports, so it's we have both.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the business. Like Chris and I were talking yesterday for a while. We could sell pink widgets. We could be in the business of selling, toilets.
Mm-hmm.
There's all these different things you can sell. It's not any fun. Motorcycles are fun. The people are great. The employees are great. I go back. I love the relationship I have with people in the industry. I mean, Chris and I got to be great friends because we're in a 20 group, a peer advisory group. We got to be great friends very quickly because of that. And, and making friends like Chris Watts, I mean, that's what I like. I like being able to hang out with Chris. I like, I like that I can talk to the CEO of Harley. I like that I could call Mike Kennedy on his cell phone. I mean, I like that stuff. I like to be a part of it. I like, that's why I keep doing it. And if things don't go well and I'm not there, I get mad at myself because if I was there, it would have gone right.
Nice.
And George is right. We were, and I've said this 100 times, maybe more, and we've talked about it. We've got great jobs. I mean, we're blessed and we're fortunate that we get to wake up and go sell fun every day. And I mean, it's a challenge. Trust me, it's a complicated business model, and there's a lot of spinning plates every day. And we seem to sometimes not catch all of them, but as I've heard a guy, Rick Alcon said this one time in a 20 group meeting. He's a guy in Albuquerque. He's a power sports guy. And he's like, we were all pissing and moaning about something years ago. And, maybe it was during a recession or something. And he's like, we got to, turn that frown upside down or something. He says, he goes, you guys could be selling porta potties and concrete. I mean, how exciting is it to get up in the morning and go say, I got to sell a bunch of shitters. And I mean, we get to go sell, jet skis and CVOs and Chiefs and, and talk to great people just like you guys. And feel very fortunate to be part of this industry my whole life. So,
all right, let me do a little intervention here for a second. I'm going to talk about the shop, folks. Okay, so we have a shop right here. You guys can go to our website, check it out. We got tons of stuff. We're going to be going to Sturgis. We got our plans to be there. We are actually finalize our plans. We're going to be at the dealership on Sunday doing a live podcast while they're doing the bike show. It's going to be freaking awesome. We're also going to have we're going to do a recorded session with the general manager there. It's Lauren, right?
Yep, Lauren.
Yep, Lauren. And we're going to be releasing that sometime next week. It's going to be a freaking awesome show. But we're getting ready for that. We'll talk about King of the Baggers here in a second because we're going to be going there and that kind of stuff. And let's see if we can find out where some of our members are, see if this thing's working. All right. So all these red dots are people in America that's been watching. So let's see, what's the farthest state right now? I'll have to see if I can get this thing to move in the future.
Or country.
Yeah, right now everybody's in America is watching, which is cool. We got some people in Georgia. Look at Iowa. We got Michigan. We got Chicago looks like here, Indiana, a lot of people in Tennessee. I would really expect that. So that's pretty cool. So let's go back here. But anyway, if you guys got any questions, I'm trying to see if this question thing is working. If you go to the link that I have that I'm sending out right now, you go there, you can tell us where you're from. There's a couple things in there. There's some polls as we do a poll tonight. You'll need that to do the poll. And also there is a question form there. So if you got any questions, it shows up on our screen and we'll ask them questions. So you got, and also when we do trivia in the future, that's where you play the trivia. So all that good stuff. And you want to become a member, there's links in there. All right, so let's get back. Yeah,
Chris,
yep.
Yeah, Chris, you were talking about going to Sturgis this coming weekend for the 4th of July weekend. Heather and I will actually be in Johnson City, Tennessee, with William Blaze, who is in the comments, and he's going to be doing his Freedom 250 ride. And if you haven't seen this on Facebook, he actually has a bald eagle outfit, costume, whatever you like to call it, and we're going to be doing some riding down there for the 250th anniversary of the United States. So should be a good time. So if anybody's out there, come down to Johnson City and support us and ride with us. Well, we might even get your picture on YouTube. You never know.
Yeah, I want to give him a camera. Or did you buy one yet?
I haven't bought one yet. Heather won't give me the money.
All right, so I'll get you one.
That's all right. He needs to come get the one I've got that you never told me how to that you never taught me how to use.
It's called YouTube. You learn everything on YouTube these days. Anyway, so I'm going to ask you both here because you're both in the industry. I mean, we talked about COVID and how sales, were firing all cylinders, even though people had to stay indoors and stuff like that. Some states were still open and that kind of stuff. But now, how do you feel about the state of a motorcycle now, right now, the day? What do you guys both say? Whoever wants to go first, how's that?
Go, George.
Me? I think we're back on track. We get that Sportster back. That's 20-25% of our business. This year has been great. One of the problems after COVID was there was excess inventory. And when there's excess inventory, that means we're discounting it to get rid of it. And it means the manufacturers are discounting it to get rid of it. So it's great for the consumer, but it's bad for everybody else. When the manufacturers are discounting, they don't have money to do things they need to do. If they're a publicly held company, the shareholders get pissed because they're not getting a return on their investment. If you're owned by an investment capital company like Arrowwood, they're in this to make money. Those guys aren't here to play around. They invest capital to make money on it, just like you invest in Harley Davidson stock. But I think the industry is coming back. I think that now that they got the inventory situation straightened out, dealers can actually make a reasonable profit again, because there were a lot of dealers that lost money the last 2 years. And my power sports store went from right under 1,000 units during COVID to down to like 600 units. How do you deal with that kind of decrease? It's creeping up every month, every year. But I think it's on track to do better. I don't think it's going to be back. I don't think we'll ever see COVID numbers again, because that was fantasy land. But I think this year, next year, we're making reasonable profits. The manufacturers have got rid of this inventory. The other thing people don't see is we pay floor plan on that inventory. We look at days supply, and this is the stuff Chris and I talk about. We don't talk about this brand's better than that brand or this model's better than that brand. We talk about days supply of inventory. We talk about what departments are contributing what to the dealership. Day supply should be around 90 days. The manufacturers would like it to be a little longer because they want to load you up with more inventory. But we pay floor plan on that. I saw dealers paying out $40,000 a month in floor plan interest. What's that do to your bottom line profitability? Because you have 150 supply. I talked to Mike Kennedy this morning, and he said the day supply is going right in line. He's very happy with where they are, especially, he said, the Scout models. Day supply is right where it needs to be. And he said the big twin day supply is getting there. And that's all good stuff. And consumers, that we don't even talk to this. We don't talk about this stuff with consumers. But if you saw what we paid in floor plan interest, that's a killer. So I think things are back on track. I think things are going to be a lot better as long as the manufacturers stay the course and produce what we can sell, not more than we can sell. Chris?
I think, the great thing about our industry right now, and every dealer out there, every sales manager out there, always would like, man, I just like a little bit more business. Um, but we have demand for our product. George and I have seen periods of time throughout our, decades in this industry where there was no demand for product, 08, 09, 2010, people,
Mm-hmm.
they just weren't spending money for discretionary income. Had a little bit of a blip in 18 and 19 that, just demand waned and inventory got real high. I know my dad has seen it back in the 80s. George's dad has seen it back in the 80s. Um, we have demand for the product right now. We have plenty of people that want what we got. But now, right now, because of the higher interest rates, which are really normal interest rates, but everybody feels like they're high as a kite because, they had 2.75
Yep.
mortgages and all that stuff
Yep.
that, we'll probably never see again, that readjustment. But the banks have tightened up. So that guy that, that maybe you were getting done pretty easily, that was a 620 FICO, and you were still getting him a high single digit rate. Now he's at 19.9 because he's not,
Mm-hmm.
a gold brick and not pushing 800 beacon. Um, he doesn't want to buy, or that makes the payment really unaffordable at a high rate like that, or they're still
Yep.
kind of stuck in fantasy land going, no, damn it, I want 3.9 interest rate. Man, those days are gone, even for somebody with a 780. And so we've got the demand, but we've got tightening in the credit markets right now. And then we have the high interest rate that, George mentions that we pay on our floor plan.
Yep.
$40,000 a month is a good number for my stores combined. If I could just pay $40,000 a month in floor plan across my stores, I could control that.
Wow.
I can predict it, and we get there and we get below it, but then so we get squeezed because then we start making concessions to get a customer to buy a unit because he doesn't like his payment, he doesn't like his interest rate. So we
Mm-hmm.
start taking money off the top to try to entice the customer to do it. Well, if I take $1,000, and customers will be shocked, but if I take $1,000 off the price of some of the units and motorcycles I sell, I'm taking 50 to 75% of my margin. And I know everybody wants to get the best deal possible. And if my buddy John Harrell's listening to this, I'm talking to you. I'll get a text message here in just a minute. But we do have to make a profit, and we don't have to kill everybody, and we're not out to do that. But we've got to make a reasonable profit. And if we're making concessions, if the manufacturer is making concessions, if they're buying down rates, throwing $2,000 rebates on product, then they don't have the money to reinvest into maybe newer bikes, R&D, things like that. So it's healthy to an extent, but right now there's some roadblocks to really kind of get things flowing. And if we can kind of loosen up the credit markets, we will see, I think we could see a really great 2027 if some of that can kind of just unwind itself a little bit. So
I'll tell you another thing.
but I think the future is bright for motorcycles and power sports because people want what we are selling. They want to be a part of it. They want to ride. They want to be part of the club. It could mean they want to be part of a hog chapter. They want to be a Gold Wing Road Riders. They want to be a motocross guy and going to the racetrack every weekend, or IMRG, Rat or whatever Triumphs. I can't think what theirs is called now, but people want to be a part of that, and that's great.
Sure.
So,
yeah. Can I throw in something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Harley's really big with demographics and numbers, and they've always shared a lot of these numbers with us. And Chris said yesterday, I'm a numbers guy. I like to look at numbers. That helps me make sense of the madness.
Nerd.
One of the things
You're
that we saw
nerd.
during
Nerd.
tell that story if you really want to hear it. But one of the things I learned or that I saw during COVID is we sold, and Chris, tell me if I'm wrong, we sold hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids' dirt bikes, ATVs, and little side-by-sides. For years, we weren't selling any dirt bikes, kids' dirt bikes and quads because they were, what's a Honda what's the little ZR50 go for, Chris? That thing's like
$2,200 now.
$2,200. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people can't drop 2,200 plus the helmet and all the other stuff for it. I mean, it's a great little bike. I mean, we all had them as kids, but they were cheap back then. Now that's an expensive machine for people to drop that kind of money for a kid that's only getting 2 years out of it. But, you got these like SSRs and KOs and these Chinese Honda clones. We sold hundreds of them, and so a lot of us sitting here, I'm gonna say that we probably grew up on dirt bikes as kids. I know I did. A lot of my friends did, and a lot of my customers have. Well, that went away for a long time. Well, now all of a sudden, we sold hundreds of dirt bikes. So I'm very optimistic that as these kids get older, they're going to want small CC street bikes, and they're going to want bigger CC street bikes, and they're going to want V-twins. So I think the future is bright, and I think that's a big part of it also.
Hey, so interrupt you here for a second. If you guys want to, I see a lot of questions in here. If you
Rumble
want,
and Growl has a few in there.
yeah. So go to Throttle and Iron /live. There's a question tab at the bottom. Put your question in there real quick so I can see it on the screen. I got a bunch of people putting questions in right now, and that's going to be your questions here in a couple, levels here. So get them questions in real quick, and we'll answer them as best as we can. Right now, everything seems to be really, really good questions. So it's going to be awesome. Sorry about that interruption, but I just wanted to let people know. But what about King of the Baggers? What do you feel about that?
We're winning. I love it. Yeah. Kicking ass. I mean, it's like, man, look at all these podium finishes. Look at all these, 1, 2, 3 sweeps. And I think it's healthy competition. I love it. I mean, we all love racing. Will Indian always be on top and King of the Baggers? Probably not. Nope. It's great though. I'm a Supercross fan, so I've grown up just watching so much motocross in my life. And, 1 year it's Honda, 1 year it's Yamaha, depends on the riders a lot. But I think it's just great for the sport. It's really exciting. So,
yeah, it's going to be exciting, I think.
Yeah.
George,
by the way, did I mention, George, we've been kicking y'all's butt? Just so you know.
Sounds like there's a side bet
I didn't have Chris on here
Well,
more
last
often.
year.
This guy
Well, last year.
He causes
Well,
drama.
last year we couldn't say that. Yeah, last year we couldn't say that. I mean,
it alternates years.
Yeah, I think it alternates.
Yeah.
I think it's all fixed. No,
yeah.
It's not.
I mean, once Harley gets them to change the rules again,
Yeah, they got the more money.
The thing is, George, I want to ask you, because here's the thing. If it wasn't for King of the Baggers, you never would have seen a CVO RR, $110,000 motorcycle that sold out.
Ain't that the truth?
The 100 and however many they made, they sold. Every last one.
There was one on Bring a Trailer last week.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Last time it was at 115 grand, I think, the last time I saw it.
I would love to have that motorcycle.
Well,
I'd
To
ride
do
it.
what? Look at it?
I would ride it like
man.
I stole it, Max.
Yeah,
it
I'd
would
be
not
like-
sit in my garage.
Yeah, you would, but not him.
I would.
I would.
I would.
freaking just kill that thing.
No,
So, George,
I'd
what
put
do
it
you
up
think
for
about the King of the
auction.
Baggers?
I'd love to see Indian. I'd love to see Indian do something like that. I mean, just come out with
They're
some.
going. They're
just-
going to. You know they're going to.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, when Mike Kennedy was on the podcast, I said, "Hey, I'd love to see Indian do something similar to that. Think like a Ford and Shelby Mustang, right? Do a collab with an aftermarket and put together a limited edition bike like that. I would love to see something like that." And Mike told me, he said, "I like the way you think," but he never really confirmed if they were going to do something. So I'm hopeful that they'll put something out like that.
I think a full-blown Vance and Hines edition. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're speculating here, and this is all just speculation, folks. Nobody get your wallet out. Nobody call anybody. But with this new Aero line that's coming out, starting out with the pipes, there's other stuff in the pipeline. It wouldn't surprise me to see a full-blown Aero bike compete with the CVO.
The only
Soon.
way,
I'd
Max
love
would
to
be
see
riding
it.
one of them bikes if it had a sidecar. That's it.
Let me tell you what. I got your sidecar right here. Read between the lines, buddy.
Jeez.
Well,
You
no,
make
you know,
fun of me all you
well-
want, but that's true.
Well, George hasn't
Well,
been able to
well-
answer this question yet. I want to see what he thinks about King of the Baggers. You guys should hide it.
You know what? I don't really pay attention to the racing, whether it's motocross or, I mean, I know we have customers who really love it. They love motocross. Bubba Boswell, Chris, and my friend, he's into flat tracking. I know people really enjoy it. You know, I don't follow it.
Well, the reason why I say that, George, because you work 60 hours a week and that kind of stuff. We're inviting you to come to King of the Baggers in Mid-Ohio, okay?
Yes.
It's a weekend. Just come on up, hang out, have some fun. You might be on the Indian side of things, but yeah, I think it'd be cool for you. It's a fun. It's really fun.
You guys do know that Kennedy ran Harley's Vance and Hines race team for years.
Yeah.
And and that's something that's in Kennedy's blood. He's big into racing. In fact, I was in Milwaukee at Juneau Avenue one time, and it wasn't Kennedy, it was a guy named Scott Miller. They used to have the race team in the basement. Scotty Parker was the big flat track guy, definitely number one. And Scott said, "Here, come with me and don't say anything." And he walked me through the race area. And there was a 55-gallon drum that had a bunch of bent-up parts in it, and there was a number plate in there that was Scotty Parker's number plate, and he wrecked the bike. And Scott's like, "Here, stick this under your jacket, because I'll get in trouble if they see you taking this out of here." And I took it out. He got me in touch with Scotty Parker, and Scotty signed it, and it's hanging up in my office. So that's about the most I know about racing.
Nice.
Wow. That's a pretty cool story. That is.
Everybody's giving you booze in the chat, though, George.
Because you don't like racing. Not really, George.
I didn't follow it. I just don't follow it. When I was in bicycle, I didn't follow the racing there either.
It's all.
I'm a business guy, and it's about running the business and making sure things go smooth. I mean, we can only be as good as our worst employee on their worst day, and I got to tell you, it is hard to hire people right now.
Oh yeah.
I had one of our best salesmen just broke his leg. He's out for at least 8 weeks, maybe longer. I moved another salesman into the F&I office. I have 1.5 salespeople right now. I'm trying to hire. We're running ads on Indeed. You should see the resumes I'm getting. I work at Wendy's. I want to sell Harleys. You know, I mean, I can't hire somebody who works at Wendy's or a landscaper. I need somebody with some kind of sales experience, and we just don't get any applications. And you would think people would love to work at a motorcycle dealership.
Well, I think.
But, I mean, Chris, you got to deal with the same stuff. It's so hard to hire salespeople, parts people, mechanics. It's really rough. I cannot open my store 6 days a week because I don't have the staff. We're open 5 days a week because I don't have the people to go to 6 days. Crazy.
And that might be, I guess, yeah. So Indian, most Indian dealerships are closed on Sundays and Mondays, and I think that's probably the right time, and at least gives their team to actually enjoy, because you want people that work there to enjoy motorcycles. And I think, some of these dealerships, they close at 6. Sometimes they are on Saturdays, they close at 4. But I think if you want a talented team, they have to know the product. I mean, you might have some person in there just studies it like crazy, and he wants to sell it like he's like the craziest salesman in the world. But I think most of your people that going to work for you are going to be riding motorcycles, and you want them to. You want them to ride their motorcycles in town and where you work at. I got my bike here, that kind of stuff. I looked at Facebook today, and High Stakes moved their dealership just a couple months ago, and they're just just crushing it on Facebook about riders and hiring at the same time. And I can see the market out there. It needs, is there enough people out there that you can hire? Like you said, if you work at Burger King, you don't know anything about a CBO, guaranteed, and it's going to be hard. And you got to take that time to train him, and then he actually leaves because it's something he didn't want to do. And
it's less product knowledge. It's more about a process where you're asking questions and finding, what vehicle is the right vehicle for that customer, or they may already know the right vehicle, but there's a process to it. So you've got to be able to do the process. Product knowledge. I mean, we've had some people that had more product knowledge than anybody on the planet. But they just didn't have the skill set to be able to sell something. They just, not that you have to push somebody into it, but you got to ask questions. You got to listen intently to know exactly what it is the customer wants, what kind of payments they can afford, what kind of down payment they have, what kind of credit. There's a process to it. And some people are really good at processes and some aren't. And product knowledge is you can learn product knowledge, you can't learn people skills and how to ask questions and listen, if that makes sense.
Yes, you can. You can learn product knowledge, but let me ask you this. do you need to be an enthusiast? Do you need to be a rider? Do you need to have practical experience to sell one?
I think it's better if you do, but
It helps. It
helps.
definitely helps. You can kind of, talk the talk and walk the walk. Have I
Mhm.
had some really good salespeople in the past that were not enthusiasts that, just had some general knowledge? I've had that. And so,
Mhm.
and on the power sports side of things, for George and I both, take out the V twin world, where you got, basically you got segments within one big segment of V twin motorcycles. But you go across the street from my Indian store, and I've got, Sea-Doo and Yamaha watercraft, and I've got side by
Mhm.
sides from Polaris, CF Moto, Can-Am, Kawasaki, Yamaha. I've got motorcycles, and then when you get with the Japanese, you've got from dirt bikes, motocross bikes. You've got entry level, naked, sport, touring with some of them. So you have so many segments within all these brands, and that's where it becomes difficult. Is like you get a kid and he's like, "Man, I'm a dirt bike guy all day long," but he's never once ridden a watercraft, or he's never once been on the street, or
Mhm.
vice versa, whatever. And they have to learn to just know just enough about it to guide a customer along. But one
Mhm.
thing that's changed in our industry, with that, with growing up in the business, I think George will agree with me here. Customers came to the dealership to make informed decisions on what was the best thing for them to buy,
Mhm.
because they didn't know, other than maybe they had a Dirt Wheels magazine or Cycle Trader or whatever, Cycle Rider. Some of these magazines don't exist anymore, I guess. But you know, we had to educate them. We had to bring out the brochure. We had to bring out the catalogs, and we had to really educate and go, here's the difference between a Ninja 600 and a CBR 600. Um, Now, because of the internet, they come in they're an expert, and they know more than we do about what they're interested in. So a guy can walk in my store tomorrow, and all he's been doing is dreaming about a Roadmaster or a Pursuit,
Mm.
and he knows everything about those two models because he knows he wants a full tour. But now he's just kind of got to decide and maybe do a demo ride. Um, Even for a salesman in, say a two-line store like mine now with Triumph and Indian, my salesman might
Mhm.
not know as much as that guy, because that guy's just been studying that one or two models intently for 6 months, a year. I mean,
Mhm.
ever how long he's been dreaming
Yeah.
about it. So we get kind of called out sometimes by a customer comes in and is like, well, how come you don't know this? We can't know the compression ratio and the bore and stroke and the fuel mileage on hundreds of different models. Which one's got the more horsepower? I have no idea. We can ask ChatGPT though; it'll tell us. But trust me, Chat's my best friend. Sometimes, no
Mhm.
offense to my wife, she's my best friend, but we can't be experts on everything with all the products we have under one roof.
Mhm.
But the customers get to be an expert, and that's great. I mean, I've got the things that I'm interested in. I'm into Porsche 911s, and I can tell you a lot about 991.1 Porsche 911s. I cannot tell you a lot about 992.2s though, because they're way too expensive for me.
Yeah.
So,
I
One
don't
one
know.
thing with enthusiasts is that like we've had some like hardcore enthusiasts work for us.
Mhm.
Pennsylvania is similar to your weather. We only have maybe a 6 month selling season,
Mhm.
and I've had guys that work for us in sales that wanted to go on the Hoka Hayride. Or they wanted to go ride for a month or a month and a half in the summer.
Mhm.
Well, we can't have a sales guy that wants to take a month off to go ride. I mean, yeah, go ride, great, but you can't work in sales because that's when we're making money.
Yeah.
That's when
Right.
customers expect us to be there and answer questions. And if you want to be out riding, you don't want to work in sales because you're not gonna have the time to ride. Because when we're busy, unless you're going to go to Florida and ride in the winter months, and that's the only way I can see that
Yeah.
working.
So
We've
how
had
much?
some issues.
Yeah.
One of our good friends, Kev Indian 116, 116. I love to work at a dealership, except no thanks. I'd rather ride than work every weekend.
Yeah.
That's the
Right on.
sacrifice you have to make.
Mhm.
yep.
Yep.
hmm
Mhm.
Yep.
Saturdays are an absolute must.
Yeah.
To anybody out there that thinks they want to work into the V twin side or the power sport side of the business, you have to work Saturdays. It's
Yeah.
just
And
it's the
evening.
busiest day of the week, and
And evening.
in evening you have to be willing. Um, the posted hours at my stores may be 9 to 6. But I know for a fact my downtown store, because I got text messages coming in, they just left 30, 45 minutes ago. They had the
Oh,
deals working, and
wow.
you got a deal working, you got to stay.
Easy.
And so you don't if you want banker's hours, we're
Go
not
work
for
in the
you.
bank.
But if you want to have something that's rewarding and you want to do something you're passionate about and you want to turn that into a career, there's a lot of opportunity out there. And used to, I can remember, coming into the business and, if you could pay somebody in the 90s, maybe even early 2000, you could pay them 30, 40, 50, $60,000 a year. That was a high paid job in the industry. We got people, I have technicians making over 100 grand a year. I've got salespeople making over that. I got managers, 150, 200 grand, store managers. I mean, it's a true career now for those that want to put forth the effort and are good at it. You can make some serious money in the power sports business as an employee. So,
Man,
Wow.
this is
any resume, you can send resumes to C-Watts at americasmotorsports.com. That is America's plural, sports plural. Send your resumes. We're always
That's right. Let's see here. We'll get to the questions here, folks, in a minute. We got some fabulous questions in here, so keep them going. Keep them going. One thing you mentioned about winter months, because not every dealership is in the great state of Florida and that kind of stuff. What do you guys do to sell, and what kind of incentives do you do? Or do you rely on a lot of internet sales, trading, that kind of stuff in the winter months? I mean, what's different?
on the power sports sides, we have side by sides and ATVs that do a pretty good job carrying us through. So if you're a metric dealer, you don't have the seasonality as much as you would, that I think George is definitely going to have in the Harley world. I'm going to, I guess, get to find out myself come about December when we get there, and all I've got is Indians and Triumphs. I know per Cam, that's when he schedules a lot of the big custom jobs. So we do a lot of big custom jobs through the winter, schedule them then. So, customers not needing their bike, he can stay in the shop 2 weeks. And so, that's something that we will do to keep ourselves busy. But, it's real. It's a seasonal business.
Yep.
And you can't offer, you may say, do you offer specials in the winter and this and that? I'll go back to something my dad has always said. In January and February, if there's snow on the ground, it's 20 degrees, I could offer some of this stuff for half price and nobody would come in and buy it because they don't know they need it yet. They can't use it. They don't even know they're in the market yet until it gets warm because they start seeing them going down the road in March. And then as soon as, Memorial Day hits, you don't have enough to sell and you can get all the money in the world because now they can use it immediately. So,
Chris, you said half price. I mean, some people think we actually make that much money on a vehicle. I one day sat down with my employees and I said, all right, here's a $100 bill. At the end of the year, what's left out of this $100 bill for the owners of this dealership? And I had people saying 50 cents, $50, $40, $30. I mean, a power sports dealership that's netting 5 to 10% is a pretty damn good power sports dealership. There are some people that'll net a little more than that. Yeah. But it just goes to show you that the margins are not what people think they are, especially on vehicles, and especially when we're paying floor plan interest and all the expenses we have. So my dealership in the winter, the power sports is like Chris. We sell side by sides, ATVs. People put snow plows on them. That works for us. December, January, February are our worst months in both stores. By March, they're looking and people are getting ready to buy. What we do at our store is we do a lot of used Harleys. Our goal is 400 this year, and we'll probably come pretty damn close to hitting it. I can't buy that many motorcycles or take that many motorcycles on trade during the busy months. Plus, the prices are higher in the busy months. So, fourth quarter, last year we bought 120 used bikes. and I had my techs prepping all those bikes so that when we got busy, they were all ready to roll, plus the other 50 bikes or so I had on stock. So we hit the ground running. This year, I'm going to buy probably 150, 160 used bikes to be ready.
But what so many people don't understand to what George just said. So he went out and bought 125 bikes during the worst part of the season.
Yeah.
So let's say he spent on a used Harley, he probably was averaging $12,000-$15,000 a bike. So do the math on that cash, even if he's floor planning part of them. And then if you're going to pay the mechanics, say you're going to run 2.5 to 3 hours on each bike, prepping, getting them ready, oil changes, safety inspections, brakes, tires, whatever the bike may need. Some need more than others. You're paying all that out in January and February. You're paying all the parts in advance. You're paying the mechanics every 2 weeks. And so you gotta, it's a master class in cash flow management.
So. It's a juggling act. And I'll tell you, because my parents started with nothing. When my dad opened a motorcycle dealership, he actually had a little auto body shop, and he started to sell motorcycles. And I grew up through college with no money. I paid my own way through college. I had student loans for 12, 13, 14 years to pay those damn student loans off. So, when we do make money, I bank it. And so like all those used motorcycles, I own all those used motorcycles. I'm not paying any floor plan, because if I had to pay 10%, 11% floor plan on them, it's sucking up a big chunk of my profit. So used motorcycles are not easy to do. And if you're putting them all on floor plan, and like Chris said, you're laying all that cash out to repair them and all the parts and the labor, it's a big nut to crack. And it's because I'm very conservative. I don't live some extravagant lifestyle. I like Porsches like Chris, but I don't have the fancy new one. I buy a used one. But I just don't spend crazy money, and I'm all about the business. I want the business to succeed. I don't have, like Chris said, I have a daughter that's in graduate school to be a nurse practitioner. I don't have anybody to give the business to, so I got to sell it someday. So I got to make sure it's in really great shape, so that when I'm in my early mid 70s, whatever that time frame is, I decide to retire, I got to sell the place. So
I don't believe you'll do it. I don't believe you'll do it. I'm going to write this down. George said early mid 70s he's going to retire. I don't believe you're going to do it.
Nah, Chris and I, we got more ski trips to do. We got some other fun stuff to do. So,
gotcha. All right, let me go to our friends here real quick, because I don't want to forget these guys. All right, folks. As you can see here, we got Riding Fish, we got Pikes Peak, we got Connie. You want to go through them real quick, or let me take a break here so they can all drink here. I got a special message I want to talk about real quick. Also, ladies first, Indian motorcycles. I think Connie fell asleep. Rideculture.com. What'd you say, Connie?
No, I'm not asleep. It's mine's behind, remember?
Oh, that's right. BC Customs, Our Indian Adventures, Tab Performance, Forever Rad, Lawless Garage, Brave Wolf, IMRG Motorcycles. We'll talk about that here in a second. And also the Hall groups.
I can do it now.
TNA Customs, CMRD 9101, Davidson Audio, some of the finest audio in the market, BFP Garage, Moto Primo. The one I didn't, I skipped over for a second is Gator Bike Swamp Sauce. What I wanted to let you guys know is some of you know that he's a real good friend of the podcast. His brother was actually in a motorcycle accident. And if you guys want to help with some, I don't want to go into all the details. He's in the hospital. He's alive. He is conscious. He's going to have a long road of recovery. But if you go to Gator Mike's shop, fourth wall there, they are looking for some donations to help out for the cause, because my understanding, he might not had insurance and that kind of stuff. So, But anyway, I did want to mention that. I didn't want to, he asked me to do it last week. I didn't have all the information, so I didn't want to, just tell people something that happened, but didn't have the information. He gave it to me tonight, and so I'm going to spread that tonight so everybody knows that. I know it's difficult to hear sometimes, and I don't want to really, talk about motorcycle accidents, but when it's one of our family, people that watch our show, I want to spread that, that news to people. So that sad news. All right, so let's go back here and talk about, let's see, what's the next one? Friends and partners. We got that out of the way. You guys have done great tonight. I really appreciate it. We're going to go to the audience questions here because I know George has
Yep.
got to go to sleep. He, he's got to get his 8 hours of sleep. All right. I only known him for a week, so I got to play around with him a little bit, So about 3 weeks. All right. So the customer, not customer, but let me go to the next segment here. I got to find out where my control panel is here. All right. So here we go. We got some friends that are had some questions here, and this is a new thing. I hope you guys like the app little thing at the website. You can ask questions. You can tell us where you're from, that kind of stuff. And also when we have trivia, you can be able to play. When we don't have a guest, we'll do some trivia, that kind of stuff. So the first question, let's see if this actually pops up on the screen. I don't know if it will or not. We'll see. Oh, there it is. So viewer question, follow up to my Kennedy and Carrollwood investments into current dealerships. Where do you see Indian going in the next 3 to 5 years? Anybody want to answer that?
I'll answer it. I think Indian is poised well to take some market share from Harley Davidson because it's, Harley's the 800-pound gorilla. We all know that. And so if they can peel some away from, disenchanted, Harley riders, which there are some out there, let's face it, we all know that. I think they're poised to, be able to take some market share, but they're going to have to be innovative. They're going to have to invest in R&D. They're going to have to come out with new product. They're going to have some support of the existing product. But I think the future is bright for Indian. I mean, I just invested a good bit of money into an Indian dealership back in March. So obviously I'm pretty positive about it. I do think they have upward mobility within the industry, and they've got some new products I know they're working on, and they want to gain share in the areas that they're already playing in, and I think they can continue to do that. So
awesome answer. George, for a future Indian owner, what do you think there? You got any answers for that?
My problem is I know too much, all right? And I know too much, and I'm questioning what's going to happen, like I think a lot of other people are. If I thought for sure it was going to do well, I would have pulled the trigger already. I'm questioning what's going to happen, and I don't want to get into details because I don't know.
I got you. You're good.
I'm allowed to say what I'm not allowed to say, but I know what the deal was structured like when Carrollwood bought it. I know what they have to do to separate it from Polaris. That's a lot of freaking work. There's a lot of work here, guys. I mean, this isn't something you can wave a magic wand, make it happen. Mike Kennedy's a great guy, and I've met some of the guys on the Indian team. I think there's some really good people there, but Polaris had a lot of money and a lot of horsepower behind them, and they were losing $50 million a year. If Polaris was making money, they wouldn't have given the company away. Yeah. I'm questioning it. I'm not saying it's not possible. Yeah. I'm not saying this to hurt anybody's feelings. I've had these discussions with Mike Kennedy. Mike's very optimistic. They're going to make all this stuff work. And, I wish Mike well. He's a great guy, a great friend. Harley, on the other hand, I mean, they're not sitting still. I mean, when all this negative news campaign came out, somebody said the other day, it was like Toro, Toro, Toro. You've awakened the Japanese in World War II. You've awakened a sleeping giant. I will say the sleeping giant has been awakened with some of those poking the bear ads. And their answer to it is not to go out and fight in public or make derogatory comments. Their answer is, Artie Stars is going to buckle down, and that guy's making stuff happen. I mean, I have not seen a CEO that is making stuff happen like this guy Artie Stars is making happen. He's changing out team members. He is just, he talks to like a ton of dealers, and when he hears something repeatedly, he makes the freaking change. He doesn't think about it. He doesn't talk about it. He just does it. And I think Indian and Harley, I think the competition is a really great thing. And I think that's the main thing I want to say. I think it's a great thing. I think Harley is going to be on their best game. I think Indian's going to be on their best game, and I think everybody wins if that's what happens. And I hope they both succeed.
And the V-twin, I think the V-twin market is big enough for two players.
Yeah, I think.
I look at the the metric side and look at how many players you got on the metric side of things. I think V Twin can handle 2 strong players that are going to compete and bring out really exciting product to give enthusiasts and customers a choice and a reason to scratch their head and go to both dealerships and take a test drive and go, wow, I got a hard decision to make here.
Yep. All right. So the next question here is this is for IMRG chapters. What specific way can IMRG chapters help their dealerships sell more motorcycle parts, accessories, service work, and rider experiences? Now, I know Music City doesn't have a IMRG yet, correct? They're working on one.
Correct. We don't. I mean, that's something that, we want to do and we will do, but we haven't done. So I'm actually gonna, because I don't have familiarity with it, and I don't have familiarity with hog chapters, I would point that question to George and
That's
say,
what I was gonna do. Yeah.
what because he's got the hog experience. What does he think based on his hog chapter experience? What could IMRG chapters do to help their local dealer? I'm interested to hear that because that may help me be more successful going forward.
I mean, most our hog members are typically some of our best customers, some of our best friends. They're very active with like events that we do at the dealership. We do a lot of events. My Pittsburgh store is set up like a horseshoe. I have a building on the left, a building on the right, and a building in the back, and a huge courtyard in the middle. The building in the back, you open the garage doors up, and it looks like American Pickers. I have a bunch of old motorcycles, a Harley snowmobile, and a Harley golf cart, old gas pumps, and it's just a really cool venue. And we have a stage, so we have bands all the time. Sorry, the cat wants attention. So they're real active. They get real involved with our events. We cook food. They'll help us recruit customers to join the chapter. My chapter, I want them to ride and have fun. I don't want them to work at the dealership, although they do help us with that at times. Really ride and have fun. And if you get other people to join, they go out and ride and have fun. Everybody wins. So, and they do send us a lot of customers. So,
yeah. Well, I've always heard IMRGs increase sales at Indian dealerships. I think it's a big deal. So, this question here is from Rumble, and then I want to move over to some other people. I got Michael here. I got William. I've got a couple questions for him. So, for someone seriously interested in an Indian motorcycle dealership or a Harley dealership, is Indian Motorcycles or Carrowood offering any programs, financial support, floor plan assistance, startup incentives, partnership opportunities, and help qualified new owners to get into their dealership biz?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah,
that is not an industry standard for any OEM. You're kind of they don't make it easy. Actually, most of the manufacturers and the floor plan companies, and I'll pick on Honda. They're the most difficult. They really make you jump through some hoops, get some banking stuff out of the way before they'll even take an application from you. So, unfortunately, to the question, it's just there's not a program. I mean, I'm sure they get people inquiring almost daily, here and there. So, I don't think they've got really a starter program to get in. I mean, it's capital intensive. You're gonna, to get an Indian. Right now for Indian, I think about a $1.5 billion floor plan line that I had to qualify for. I got another, I think $750,000 for Triumph. Me personally, I'm guaranteeing over $10 million in floor plan inventory across all my stores. And it takes a long time to build up, have, the relationships, but have the experience. So it's not the easy business to get into like it was back in the 70s and 80s, where a lot of guys got in with, $50,000 and, hope.
Yeah.
So
the barriers of entry are very high. I know the Harley one. So you got to have $1 million in cash, $2 million in net worth minimum. You have to have 3 years experience at a dealership. And it goes from there. So the barriers of entry are very high. Even to buy a small store, you better have a bunch of cash and you better have a bunch of experience running a dealership, because they're very tough on who they're going to let be a dealership.
Wow.
All right, this one's for Chris. Music City Indian has always had a reputation for top-notch customer service. What do you look most forward to growing MCI?
That's a great question. And William is 100% correct. They have an excellent reputation, almost a perfect Google score, almost a perfect CSI score with the company. And that's attractive to me as a buyer to come in and buy something that's already functioning well, because most of the dealerships we bought over the years were dysfunctional, broken, almost beyond repair. And I can tell you, it is hard to go into a new business as new owners and turn that around. You even with a new name on the front door and new staff or whoever it may be, it's very difficult. So looking forward to, there's so many things I'm looking forward. And William, I'd love, you're obviously, I guess, a customer. I'd love to meet you if I haven't met you yet, but it's Cam set the bar high. We plan on keeping it up there. We know to get the customization work and the service work that we need to do out of that store, that we have to do that. And the whole crew there is, they're committed to that, and I'm committed to it as well. So, but I'm looking forward to growing the Triumph piece inside that Indian store. I'm looking forward to growing the Indian, from 100, 120 units a year to 150 to 200 units a year. And I know we can do it, and we're going to do it. So I'm looking forward to the growth of it and growing some of the staff members into some managers and things like that. So,
yeah, this one's a great answer. George, this one's for you. With a renewed rivalry of India and Harley and wanting to see the best for the industry, what kind of things do you hope to see change in Harley? And I think you mentioned a bunch already. So,
and I'm going to talk about both CEOs here real quick. I have never seen two CEOs working around the clock like these two guys are working right now. Artie Stars, I'll get a call early Sunday morning and talk to him for a half hour. I'll get another call in the afternoon. The guy doesn't stop, and he's got young kids. His family's in Dallas, and he's spending his weeks in Milwaukee. But the guy's on fire. I don't know how he's doing what he's doing. The same with Kennedy, and Kennedy's all over the place. He was supposed to call me for almost 2 weeks, and we kept missing each other and texting each other. And he called this morning. We finally got to talk, but he was just in Europe. He was out in Colorado. He was out in Durango, Colorado, and he and I have a Harley dealer friend out there, Trevor Bird, who's a mutual friend of both of ours. And Mike didn't even have time to go visit Trevor, so that tells you how busy he is. So we got some people really busting their asses, and when you got leadership that's busting their ass like that, it trickles down. So you've got their teams just working hard, and to me that's really exciting, because for 5 years we had this CEO that was just freaking horrible. And everybody was just pissed off and disgruntled and angry. And, there was a lot of negativity, and all of a sudden we've got all this positive stuff going on. It feels really good. I did a webinar the other day, and I said, it feels good to be a Harley dealer again, because for 5 years it did not feel good. That yoke and seats, I could go into a tirade and I won't. I'll hold back.
He's still on the board now, isn't he?
What's that?
He's still on the board, right?
No, he's done.
Oh,
we pushed him out.
Oh, sweet.
I believe he wanted to stay on the board as chairman of the board, because he was chairman for years, and he was on the board for 20 years plus. So he was chairman, CEO, and president. Nobody should have that kind of power.
Yeah.
When you have that much power, you're not held accountable by anyone, and that was part of the problem there. So, but no, I see a lot of energized people, and it feels really good to see all the energy, and I think we're going to see some good things happen. And I think the whole industry is coming around. We had two of the worst years. Chris, our worst years were probably 2008, 2009, the recession, and probably the last 2 years. those 4 are the worst years we've ever seen. You know, my dad saw really bad years way back, and I don't know, what was there something in the 80s that was really bad?
Oh
I
yeah, the
tend to
metric side. You know, when the tariffs when Ronald Reagan saved Harley Davidson with the 49% tariffs on anything 750 cc's or older coming out of Japan. Um, that really put a damper on the metric side. I know I've heard my dad talk about selling, Honda, Yamaha having products stacked up in the warehouses that were still 3 and 4 years old, and major, 40, 50% discounts. And yet a lot of dealers, didn't survive back then. So that was evidently a pretty bad time.
You see manufacturers make big mistakes. I was on LinkedIn today, and I was reading about that new Ferrari Luce. They made this electric car. It looks like a freaking Kleenex box. It's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. And it's like they actually just fired some of these top level people at Ferrari because they screwed up so bad. Porsche, who Chris and I love. I mean, Porsche is like another cult following, like these big twin brands are. They were going to make all these electric cars. They were going to be all electric by 2030. Porsche, I mean, they're turbocharged or even just regularly aspirated, gas-powered engines. I mean, that's what we buy them for, not for electric. Well, they just spent hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars on electric vehicle. They didn't even produce a lot of these.
It's about put Porsche out of business last year. So
yeah, it's bad. You see these manufacturers make some really big mistakes, and it just seems to happen every so often. So none of us are immune to screwing up.
Yep.
Yeah,
sure.
I want to speak to the question that's up on the screen right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
That Michael's asked about, industry as a whole, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think Harley and Indy need to settle their scores with each other, racetrack, product, R&D, showrooms, sales, do it there. I don't, it's not what I would have done with what's gone on the last few weeks, but I'll just leave it at that. But I want to say this about the health of the industry. And this is something that I've heard said, I've said, and this goes back to the 80s. The 2 big behemoths in this industry historically has always been Harley and Honda. And if Harley and Honda catches a cold, everybody else sneezes. We need a healthy Harley. We need a healthy Honda. We need a healthy Indian. We need a healthy Kawasaki, BMW, Triumph, Ducati. We need, a rising tide floats all ships, somebody once said. So if you're out there, if you're an Indian guy or a Honda guy and you're rooting for the downfall of Harley, that is a narrow mindset, and that will not work, because that creates an unhealthy industry, an unhealthy dealer network. Because at the end of the day, we're all in this for the same reason. We love to ride a motorcycle. We, no matter what kind of bike it is, and people always ask me what my favorite is, this and that. I can have fun on anything. I could go find me a 96 1100 Virago. I'll have fun on that. I may have more fun on my Indian Pursuit, but we're all in this for the same reason, and it's to get out and enjoy what we do. And so a healthy industry is having healthy manufacturers and healthy dealer networks, and that creates a better customer experience and will bring more people into the sport if they know they can go get, good treatment, get good service, get, responsive parts department, and, walk in and the guy at the parts counter knows your name. He's like, "Oh, hey, yeah, I know you. Yeah. How's your new bike? I love to see you, man. We got something new. Look at this." I mean, that's what we all want.
Yep.
It's never a perfect world. I mean, people have had bad experiences at my stores. There are some dealers out there that there's a lot of bad experiences, and people have to understand that just because it's a Honda dealership, they're not all the same. They're not cookie cutter. They're independently owned, and you've got some owners that are at the store. You've got these big groups that run these stores like auto track stores, and those guys do some big volume, but man, they're bad for the industry. They treat people badly. They bury people in 10-year loans. There's bad stuff going on out there, but it's not all dealerships, and it's not any particular brand because they're all independent.
Yeah, we really didn't touch into that, and we don't have time for that. We'll have to bring you guys back in here and talk about that stuff. I'm sure there's some dealer insiders that we would love to have, but we do have 2 more questions, and that's it. I'm not going to accept any more questions, and that's it. The one is here, right here for you, George. It's about the Super Glide model coming back, doing stunts, and bringing back that customer. You think that's going to happen? The old customer that was wanting them bikes.
To me, it's more about the they do these limited edition bikes, and people love them. Yeah. They do limited edition number bikes, and they do something cool. Like, I was talking to Artie the other day, and I'm like, man, why don't you guys bring back the Sturgis? Why don't you bring back the Daytona? And he's like, George, we're working on this stuff. He goes, we have more stuff coming. He said, we want it to come out at intervals. He said, you're going to see some good stuff happening. So, I mean, I love seeing the limited edition bikes, especially when they're numbered. People love that stuff. We sold out of our store in 2 weeks. They were all gone. So,
wow. Well,
is it going to bring old customers back? I don't know. I mean, people that like the old bikes like the old bikes. You're not going to get anybody that loves shovel heads to buy a new motorcycle. They love shovel heads. That's like I'll put the car. I have a couple muscle cars. I have a couple muscle cars I like to play around with, but I don't drive them very often. They're play toys to me. And when they break down on the side of the 4-lane highway, I get pissed off. So I don't drive them a lot. But I sure like tinkering around with them.
And I tell you what, you don't want to see a pissed off George Gatto, because I've seen it. And if he gets mad enough, he might drop an F-bomb. He might drop an F-bomb.
Holy moly!
I've seen it.
Well, it's after 8:30. It's okay.
Yeah. Last question here. Everyone in the industry, riders, dealers, and OEMs. That's not really a question. It's a statement, I think. Are better with a strong Harley Davidson and a strong Indian motorcycle. Prove me wrong. I think you're exactly right, and that's what Chris was saying earlier.
Yeah.
That's what we want. We don't want this. I think India made a mistake, kind of. They woke the sleeping giant, like you said, because man, they could have just snuck in there and keep taking market share, and nobody would ever, it would have been like they would have been the 20% before Harley Davidson really found out, because people are buying motorcycles like crazy. They're saying right now there's younger kids buying more motorcycles than it ever has, and I think that's what's really good about the motorcycle right now is that environment. And I don't know if you guys have any input on that or not. So.
I mean, Chris, we're selling a lot of small CC bikes at the power sports store. They're flying.
I mean that's where the volume at. The volume right now on power sports is 350 to 750 cc's. The days of the big CC stuff. I mean, look, you don't see the Japanese hardly making any V twins anymore above. I mean, Honda's still got the 1300. Suzuki, I guess, still has the M109. Kawasaki still has the Vaquero. But, I mean, we sell like 2 or 3 of those bikes every year. Yamaha doesn't make anything bigger than the 950 Bolt now. I guess they're still making. I can't keep up with some of them. But, right now, on power sports, it's, MT-09s and MT-07s, R7s, R9s, CBR 650s. The new 800 power plant that Suzuki's got. It's a great power plant, and they've got it in, GSX-8s and stuff like that. I mean, that's where we sell a lot of 500cc sport bikes, and people have kind of like, the bigger's not necessarily the best thing anymore. They're, even enthusiasts. I went on a ride a couple of weeks ago with a bunch of buddies, and we have a place up in Gatlinburg, and we're doing it again next month. And one of my friends that was with me, was a pro motocross racer in the 70s and 80s, ridden everything under the moon, has worked for Kawasaki, Yamaha. He's been a manufacturer's rep. He's driving a 900cc Yamaha, the Tracer, and he's perfectly happy. But I think 10 to 15 years ago, you would have found him on a much bigger bike because that was just the thing now. And now he wants to ride his Tenere and he wants to ride his 900. And I see it with some of the guys I ride with. They're like, an Africa Twin is the biggest thing one of these guys wants to be on. He don't be on anything any bigger.
Yeah.
And so there's been a shift. There's definitely been a shift.
Yeah.
Does that mean some of the big leader bikes and things will start to come down in price?
No, it's actually the opposite, because now that you're selling, say an R1, now that you're selling less R1s or less Hayabusas, as a dealer, I'm selling less of them, but that means the manufacturer's producing less of them. Their cost per unit actually goes up that way because they're not scaling them. So you're not going to bring costs down by selling less. The only way to bring costs down is to sell more.
A lot of people say,
Makes
Chris,
sense.
you need to come down there and ride with them in Chattanooga. He said, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go. It's a Body Snatcher. His name's Ed. He's been at Music City a couple times. I think he got his tune there.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah, they're inviting you to Chattanooga.
Hey guys, I'll be in Gatlinburg riding next weekend for 3 days. So hit me up. Maybe you guys can come up to Gatlinburg. We're gonna be doing the Dragon and Cherahala and a bunch of good stuff. So
Nice.
looking for more. There's about 12 of us going up there together from Nashville on the 10th.
That's awesome.
So,
Cool.
All right.
All right. Well, any last words here? I know you guys have been here for 2 hours, and I know George is he's past his bedtime, they say. So
Oh my God, it's 10 o'clock.
Hey, I really appreciate you guys coming on here. I mean, to get two, people on here that own opposite dealerships, big competitors, is awesome. I really appreciate it. And George, thank you for getting Chris involved in this. I'd love to have you guys on here one-on-one or by yourself in the future. Just talk about things. I mean, it's great. We want to get more into the Harley Davidson kind of community, and we're really big, and we don't get me wrong, we have a really big family in the Indian motorcycle community, and we love them guys. But as you know, there's only so many Indian riders, and there's a lot more Harley Davidson riders and metric riders that we'd love to support also. We just want to get more people riding, and that's what our goal is, to get more people riding. So
yeah. Anybody out there wants to find me on Instagram, I'm the real Chris Watts. That's my handle on Instagram, which means I'm the real Chris Watts and not the scumbag Chris Watts that murdered his whole family in Colorado. So I had to do that.
wow.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All
He
right.
muddied up my good name. So
Oh wow. George,
All
what do
right.
you got?
I mean, I'm on Facebook. I don't really do much with it. Instagram's music. I don't really. I mean, it's music for me. I listen to music.
he's find him on OnlyFans. He's selling feet pics.
Oh man. Oh man.
Wow.
They're gonna have a conversation after this podcast.
I told you I would throw some zingers at George. But I love him.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you should see us in the 20 group meetings. We hammer each other sometimes.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
brutal. So
Yeah.
We have fun.
Yeah, we didn't even hit that too. We had so much to talk about tonight, and we only hit so many. I'm trying to figure out. Was there 2 more questions that I needed to ask? I know we've been doing a lot. I was trying to embarrass George here, and I haven't. Let me see if I can find it. Let me just type in the Chris Watts, and hopefully I get the right one, not from Colorado. So let's see. This other one is if you wasn't a Harley dealership owner, what other dealership would you want to own? Or yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
one of the questions. If you weren't a Harley dealer, what would you be doing?
Yeah.
And you can't say bicycles. It's something you've never done. If you weren't a dealer, what would you be doing?
I mean,
What would you
if
want
it's
to
to
be
make
doing?
money, if it's to make money, it's one thing. If it's just to horse around, it's something else. I mean, I like muscle cars and I like Porsches, and I'd love to tinker around with that, but it's not something I think I could make a living at. So, I mean, I like what I'm doing. I like power sports. I like Harley. I like that it's always changing. I like that, I like the relationships. I can't say there's anything else I'd do. I like this. I like the people is what I like the most.
Awesome.
I like the relationships.
All right. Great answer.
Yeah, it's a great podcast. I appreciate you guys coming in here. I mean, freaking awesome. And I think Les and Max, if you guys don't got anything, we'll call it a night and show some credits and get the heck out of here.
My eyes are yellow.
Go use your restroom. All right, if you guys too would stay on here for a second, the screen will go blank once we stop this thing. But let me see if I can get these credits working, and let's see if I can roll these bad boys. Let's see if it works. Hopefully it does.
Namaste, people. Good night. Good night.
Everybody stay safe out there.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all for watching. The short one goes a little bit faster, but anyway, got Donna there, Zan, the biker, Body Snatcher, Gator Mike, Will's Divided, Jason, Rumble Growl, all these people. You guys were in the chat. I really appreciate you guys.
He sent 5 more Throttle Iron memberships.
Oh my gosh. Look, Motor Cow.
Wow.
Yeah, right there.
Nice.
Man, awesome. Thank you. Thanks you for your support. But anyway, you guys have a good night, and we're going to get off here, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Night.
Yeah. But George comes back
Or maybe
on. He has to
Friday.
bring a cat again.
Oh, no, I got to work Friday, so yeah. I won't be here on Friday. Yep.
No Tech Friday.
No Tech
Yeah.
Friday. Yeah, so your guys are safe.
No
off
Tech
on Friday.
Friday.
All right.